The following conversation is with Christian Calcano, Magic Pro and poker player. This is the second time I had Christian or Calc on the show off of Pro Tour Barcelona, where he finished in the top eight. This is his second Pro Tour top eight. I hope you enjoy. If you like to support what I do, please consider supporting Humans of Magic. Patreon.com/Humans of Magic. For as little as $2 a month, you can give me the power to keep cranking out new episodes with your favorite Magic people. Patreon link is in the description. Thank you for the support. Whether it's Patreon or otherwise, I appreciate it a great deal. Now, without further ado, this is Christian Calcano. Christian Calcano, what is up, my man?
What's good? How you doing?
Good. Excited to talk to you. I
Excited to be
am.
here.
Thank you.
Mm,
I'm glad that you're excited to be here. I'm excited to talk to you, and
mm.
I think you just had a. This is like your evening, right? So you probably had a long day already. I think I really appreciate you doing this after a long day of whatever it is you're doing. So
Yeah. No, it's late night here in New York, and yeah, I'm doing good.
can I assume that you're a night person? You're like a night owl,
Mo
or are you a morning
Yeah,
person?
for the most part. Although lately it's been a mix of both, especially
Yeah.
like when I have to work early or something.
Yeah. It's been a while since you came back from Barcelona, right? So the jet lag and all that stuff is all fully adjusted.
Yeah, I'm good to go. Yeah, I got back. Yes, like 2 to 3 weeks ago now. So yeah, I've had to adjust back to not just the time zone, but just like the life here, especially just because like before Barcelona, I was gone for like I want to say a month and a half already, so I wasn't even home much. So basically, I just had to just get back into the groove of things here and like go back to work and all that stuff. So yeah,
For sure. So, big congrats, belated congrats on
thank you.
PT Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
PT Barcelona.
hmm
But I also understand you had an epic. This is your second PT top eight, if I'm not mistaken, right?
Yeah.
All right,
Number two.
number two. And but I also understand you had a pretty amazing trip afterwards. I think that's smart, right? It's to do the vacation after the event so that there's less on your mind because the event is already finished. Like, tell me about that trip and where in Europe did you end up traveling to?
Yeah, I mean, I stayed in Spain, and me and my good friend Li Tian from Hong Kong, who I hadn't seen in so long, we were testing partners and friends for pretty much like 3 years before like the MPL, you could say, and before the pandemic hit. So, we like had like lost touch a bunch, but then like for this pro tour, it was like the pro tour he used his Hall of Fame invite on, and like we ended up on the same team again. So I was like super excited for that. And then when I mentioned to him that I was interested in going outside of to like other parts of Spain, he was super interested in as well. So it was just me and him like together, and we went to a city called Zaragoza, which is an hour and a half outside of Barcelona, and we like spent a night there. And it's not a huge town, so we were able to see a lot of the sights there, which was really cool. And then from there we went to Malaga, which is in the south, like near Gibraltar, and it's on the Mediterranean, and it was just a beautiful place, like amazing food, like great beaches, like it was just a amazing time. And I got to like hang out with like the local Magic players that I know from there. Like one of them invited me to his place and a bunch of other friends there to like play cube, so that was cool. And like he cooked this amazing paella, which is like one of the like famous Spanish dishes. And yeah, it was just awesome. And me and Lee also, we did some sightseeing, and we got to see like the cool like castle that's in town. And yeah, it was just it was a good time.
I understand this is not the first rodeo for you in Spain, right? Because you mentioned going to Barcelona a whole bunch of times, but these two cities, were they first time visits for you?
Yeah, no, those were first time, but I've been to Spain many times. Like I've mostly only been to the major cities because that's where all the Magic tournaments have been. So like back in the day when they've had Grand Prix and Pro Tours there, like I've been to Barcelona like I think 5 times maybe. I've been to Madrid like 3 or 4 times. I've been to Valencia a couple of times. And then there was a Pro Tour in Bilbao, which I went to, which was cool. Which I took the opportunity to go visit another city up there called Donostia, which is like near the French border in the Basque Country. And that was like in 2018, and and I had a friend who lived there as well. So like, it was just cool to get to like see these places that I wouldn't be able to normally go to otherwise. Especially and take the extra time because especially like when I was much younger, like I pretty much like never had time to like do much sightseeing, especially like at the Grand Prix, because like for the Pro Tours, I would always take off like a couple of weeks because we would get there early, we would test in person, etc. And then sometimes I would stay like a few days after. But like now that I'm older, like I've been trying to like do more of the sightseeing part of things that I didn't get to do as much before. So yeah, it was that's what I try to do now when I go to these like much bigger events. So it was nice.
Yeah. And how's Lee? Lee's doing good?
Yeah, yeah, he's doing great. Honestly, like he's like looking pretty healthy. Like lost a bunch of weight, and it was just it was also it was just really cool to hang out with him and test again. And like he was always like one of the play like he was the leader of our team back in the day. And yeah, like he's still like the same old Lee. He still has like that great like metagame prediction. Like he still just like watches our games, and like he was a big part of my success this weekend. I feel of that weekend in Barcelona because he like when I was still like trying to decide decks, he just instilled a lot of confidence in me to play Tron. And it was like having like no like having been with him all those times before, and like I would follow him so many times. Like I would follow his metagame read, his decision, like his deck choices. Not like 100% of the time, but when I get that vote of confidence from him, yeah, it just made me feel so much more like comfortable, and like just like I was just excited to play. So and yeah, it was awesome.
Tell me a bit about that. Just kind of the trust you develop with certain folks, right? Like just in
Hmm.
terms of like you've been battling or preparing with them for all these years, and like would you say Lee is like probably among the top of like folks that you trust from a Magic testing or a preparation perspective?
Yeah, I mean like I trust all my teammates honestly, like because I just in general like I feel like I've been able to learn from pretty much like all the Magic players I've ever really like interacted with or played a game against or just talked about Magic with, etc. But like when it comes to like preparing for these events together and like he like guys like Lee, Andrea, Javier Dominguez, those players who I played with all those years, like like those were the guys that uh I really like I leaned on them for advice. And like we would just like go back and forth, and like they would like break everything down for me. And yeah, like it's just they're the best. They're definitely the best players of my time, and like of the last like decade, you could say. So yeah, like I trust those guys a lot. And I'm happy that I got to work with some of them as well for this last one. And also like some other old friends, like a good friend, Tony Martos from Spain. Zen Takahashi was also like on the old team. And I got to meet a bunch of new talented players as well who are just coming on the scene. Like some of them have been around for a little bit already, although I wasn't personally like I wasn't really that involved in Magic over these last few years, like like over the pandemic and stuff. I know some of them have like some impressive online resumes. Like for example, there's a player called Beekeeper from the UK, Sean Goddard, who's also he's on our team as well. And I was very impressed by him. And there's a few others as well. And yeah, it's cool to get to you know interact with like the younger generation of Magic players. And like now, because I used to be, especially like on that team with the the min card guys with Lee and them. Like I was, one of the more younger players back in the day, and like now I'm one of the, one of the older guys now. So it's a new thing and it's cool, and but overall, it's still Magic, and it's still the Pro Tour, and like everyone is good. Like I have like immense respect for all the players on my team, all the players like that I'm competing against, just because like it's like no one gets there by accident, it's just like yeah, you have to run good, of course. Like I know I got very lucky myself, because I didn't think that especially like at the beginning of the year, like how things were going and with Magic and stuff, and I was just kind of trying to get back into it and see how, like, oh, maybe I can go to this event here, go to this event there, and kind of see if I feel the same things from before, like if I enjoy it on the same level. But I never expected, you know, to to go from that to like qualifying and then having like my best finish ever. So yeah, it's great to be playing Magic again.
Hey man, these kind of things are just blessings, right? Sometimes I think sometimes life's like that. Like if you try
Yeah.
to plan for it too much, you sometimes just end up disappointed or not hitting your goals. And sometimes you just have to, I know you're into poker, like just
Hmm.
use the analogy, let the chips fall where they
Yeah,
may, right?
no, exactly. And like I feel like especially like earlier in my Magic career, I definitely like I feel like that was like a big issue for me, is like like trying to break through and like get onto the Pro Tour, and then like stay on, like qualify for more stuff, and try and be playing all the high level events and stuff, and try and test a bunch. And yeah, it's like it's like easy to burn yourself out, and it's it can be tough to like take some brutal losses, like when you care so much, and you try so hard and stuff. But whereas like now I'm just like, I don't know, I guess I don't have like that pressure to perform. Like yeah, like I still want to play, I want to play well, and I want to play my best, but like like now, like the losses don't, they just don't hit me that hard anymore. I still, like we all want to win, and definitely sucks to lose in certain spots, but overall, like I feel like now I'm just much more kind of like I don't really worry too much about like winning or losing. I just kind of try to focus on the games, and or like the hand I'm playing in poker or whatnot, and just like you say, like the chips fall where they may, and you know it's been I feel like it was a great mindset to be in, like playing in the Pro Tour. Like I just, like yeah, I was nervous in a lot of spots, but I was kind of just, I don't know, I felt lucky to have, I guess you could say, like it's like I don't know, I don't know where I heard this from. I know it was like, I think it might have been like someone in tennis, I think. I don't know. It was like they said something like being nervous is a privilege, or like being under pressure is a privilege, basically. Like so I just felt lucky and happy that I was like playing on the Pro Tour again. And yeah, I even saw like one of the guys that I lost to in the finals of a PTQ for like this last Pro Tour. Like
Oh,
we played in Minneapolis. He beat me in the finals, and like after that is when I went to back to Europe and qualified through the regional. But like the morning of the draft, I saw him. He was like a pod over from me, and he sees me and he's like, "Oh, you made it!" And I was like, "Yeah, man, we're here." So it was cool. It was cool to see him,
yeah.
and yeah, it was, I was just the whole weekend, like even in top eight, like I was just, hey, I'm here, I'm happy, like let's play Magic,
Hmm.
and yeah, let's see what happens. So.
Hmm. Well, how do you think this mindset of yours changed? Do you think it's just getting older, experience? Is it the fact that you've proven yourself in past events? Like, how does that change from, maybe a 20-something-year-old Christian Calcano who really, really wants to try hard and prove himself to where you are at now?
Um, Yeah, it's I don't know, like I guess just like I don't know, I guess you could say just like being battle hardened, because I mean I've literally played like like I have no idea how many tournaments I've played in my life, like from all levels, like local level all the way to the top, but like it's got to be like I don't know over like 600 or something.
Just lose count, right?
Like
Yeah.
I mean it's it's hard to know, but like I know I've played infinite tournaments, I've played all over the world, like I've played against all different kinds of players, and yeah, I just I don't know, it's just like I just feel like yeah, like
Like you just
getting
built up this confidence, kind of, or
no, it's not even actually. I don't have much of that confidence to like just go out there and just crush a tournament or whatever. Not to say that like I don't think I can do it or I don't believe I can do it, but like I just I just don't have that expectation. I just like I don't know. I just don't really think about that stuff anymore. I don't really know. I mean, I guess like maybe poker helped with that as well, just because like in poker, like it's it's just so easy to be result oriented with like literally like every decision you make. So,
hmm
and like that was, that's a I'm sure that's a big thing. I mean, I know that's a big thing in Magic too that people like, struggle with and stuff like that. And not to say that like results like don't matter at all. It's just that like it's just when I guess like when you're results oriented to the point where like like it ruins the experience and you don't take away anything from the games or whatnot. 'Cause that's another thing. Like I like there's times I just like I lose a game or a match and I might stay there for a bit and just kind of like think about like while the game's like fresh in my mind, think about like certain turns, like what I could have done wrong, what could have done differently or whatever, what went wrong, stuff like that, and yeah, I just I just don't really. I'm like I want to win, but then like if I don't win, it's okay as well. And like that was like very liberating, honestly.
it's okay to not win because that's what the game is like, whether it's poker or Magic. But on the flip side, does that mean that when you do win, that
Feels good.
you also feel it less? Does it feel less good because you're kind of like kind of level setting your expectations?
Yeah, yeah, no, on some level, yeah. 'Cause like especially in poker too, like I try to be like even keel, and there is like some level, at least like some level of concern for me in the sense that like I I guess like 'cause like I think like I think showing emotion is good and having that emotion is good. I just I don't know. It's more of a sense of like whether it's positive emotion or negative emotion. Like I just try my best to like not let that influence like you know any of my any of my games because I just like I know like, I'm sure other people can have experienced something like this before where it's like like you make a big mistake or something and you get really upset and like you kind of just like throw the game away like you just like concede or you just you just like your mistakes compound and you make another mistake another and it's like snowballs out of control and stuff or like like I'll be like oh man that was dumb I concede and then I'll look at the top card and like I'll be like oh man that was an out like what am I
I had
doing
a
so
chance. Yeah.
stuff like that and it's just like yeah just I don't know like learning I guess it's like it's just I guess something I guess like you just kind of have to like learn how to manage or whatnot. But
How good are
yeah,
you at dealing with tilt?
uh, yeah. I mean, I'd say like pretty good now, just because like I don't know, I don't really like. I mean,
Whatever.
I feel like I mean, I tilt, but like it,
It's like a moment in time and you just get over it, kind of.
or I try to at least, like yeah, like I mean, I know I've like made a mistake. Like there've been times that like I'll make a mistake and I'll be like, oh damn, like oh that was so dumb. Like why did I do this, etc., etc. And then like I just kind of like I don't know, I kind of just like, like in my head, just kind of like try and like, get a grip of myself and just kind of be like, all right, okay, like calm down, you know, that sucks, but like we're here now. Because I know, I think like, if not, like I think Brad Nelson told me this once, or he like talked about it openly once or whatnot about like, about doing a mistake, making a mistake like that, and like thinking to myself like, okay, like how do I win from this point now? Like what do I have to do right now to like win this game? And I took that to heart, and I've tried to do just that. Like whenever I found myself in a situation like that where like I like made a mistake, and basically just try to try your best to make sure that like, all right, I made a mistake, but like I'm not making another one. And just try your best from there. So
Yeah. So that's a really good. This is really good context because I'm going to ask you something that just again, what's going through your mind as you go through the top eight of the PT? Because obviously, as you said, you trust the decision of the team, you trust the deck. You had mentioned already that you weren't the most familiar with the modern format, but you kind of have some advantages because just one being a very skilled Magic player and having done it before. But as you go into the top eight, and maybe even like beyond the top eight, as you go into the final, like what's on your mind? Are you thinking like I need to win? I need to like win this pro tour? Like I like do you have no expectations? Like what exactly is your thought process? Because I know as a Magic player, we sometimes have this, I don't want to call it a trap, but it's just this mindset where you get close to something and you're just like, I need to take this home. And if I don't get first, it's going to be a disappointment. I've certainly felt it.
hmm
So, yeah, what's going through your mind at that time?
yeah, I mean, yeah, walking into the hall that day, like saw some friends, like, got to chat a little bit, and then I saw like my teammates, and like we went over like some sideboarding decisions for like the top eight, and I saw some friends who also helped me out a little bit with that, and yeah, but like going into the match, like I'm playing against Kai Buddha in the quarters, which was crazy because I was like I mentioned on coverage how I've always wanted to play against him. He was like one of the few players, from back in the day who dominated the game that I never got to play against.
Yeah,
So
different era.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, because he was, because I didn't qualify for the Pro Tour until like years and years and years after he was already done playing. So, getting that opportunity, like I was just like really excited for that. And but at the same time, I was like, I still understood like, okay, like, you know, like it's weird, like like I knew it was like a big moment, but it was kind of like I wasn't really thinking so much about like the moment, and just like, all right, let's play, let's play
Because
some
if you're
Magic.
thinking too much about the other stuff, like you
Yeah,
can't function, right? That's the thing.
yeah, and like, um, yeah, like, everyone, like a lot of like I knew the matchup was good, but at the same time, it's like, it's Magic, anything can happen. Like, it's also a matchup I struggled with in testing, like, even though it's a good matchup for Tron, the Rhinos matchup. I know when I was playing against one of my teammates, like he was just crushing me all the time. Like and like I had to like those we didn't play I didn't play that many games against that deck, but the games I did play were like huge for me to like learn how to play, and like actually like because I ended up playing against it in the Swiss once and then in the top eight, and I just felt like I didn't drop a game, so that was nice. So I felt like that limited testing was still big for me, and I understood anything could happen, but like I was just ready to play, and I was just ready to play my best and just hope for the best, and it went about as good as I could have hoped. I just I won 3-0 and didn't really have much of a sweat, I feel like, at any point in the match. So that was just very fortunate. It was also lucky that he had to mulligan a lot, which is very bad for his deck, the Rhinos deck. So just like kind of everything went perfectly, and I didn't really have to. I just played Magic basically, and didn't think much of it. And yeah, so that was nice. And then from there, then it was the top four against Simon. and that was a completely different story.
I watched both of you. I
It
watched
was
all of your run through the top eight, by the way. So
yeah,
I was sweating there with you.
it
So
was like the thing is like even like in testing when I asked, I was like, should we play any mirrors? They were just like, no, like you just
it's not gonna
like the
happen.
mirror is easy. You just make Tron and you win or whatever. But like that wasn't the case at all. Like because like
That was complex.
the games where like neither player has Tron are just really hard, and I had like no idea what was going on. Like I had no idea what I was doing. It was crazy. Like I like I could and that was like I know like it's like imagine like it's hard sometimes to like not tilt off when you make one mistake, but like in that match I made like 20 mistakes. It
Sequence.
was
Yeah.
everything was just like I don't know, like it was like a mix of nerves of like not being like not really having any conviction with like one player or another or whatever, and like it was just like I was just grinding away basically and just trying my best to like make the best play possible, and even if I didn't, like it was like all right, whatever. Like just keep going until it's over, man. And like I managed to pull it out somehow, and it was I was just like wow, like I just couldn't believe it, honestly. It was just it was definitely like probably the craziest match of the weekend, I think, was against Simon in that top four. So
Hmm.
yeah, that was cool. And then, once we got to the finals, and I played against Jake, who I had played against on day two in draft, and I beat him. And but I'm up against the Rakdos deck, which is you know basically like the deck where everyone felt like, oh, no one's gonna play Tron at this tournament because it has a bad matchup against Rakdos. But like our team didn't feel like like our like basically like me and Tony, we played a ton of games. Like I played the Rakdos side because that was the deck that I was like interested in playing, like going into testing, and he was playing the Tron side because he was the one who told me like, hey, Calc, I think we should play Tron. I think it's really good. Like people don't understand. Like the deck's completely different now. The One Ring is broken. Like it solves everything.
So
Like
you almost wanted to show him like Rakdos is gonna come out on top in your testing, right?
well, not so much showing, but like we needed to like figure it out. We're like, all right,
Yeah.
everyone
Need
says like this
reps.
matchup's bad. Like let's play and let's see like let's see what the deal is. And basically like whoever was on the play won for like almost all the games. And and we played some sideboard as well, and it was like kind of like more of the same. So we kind of felt like, hey, like this isn't so bad. Like yeah, turn one Fury sucks, but other than that, like it's okay. Like not like unfavorable, but acceptable, given the fact that like we felt that like every other matchup was really good, and like the matchups that were like the worst, like burn and stuff, were decks that we didn't expect to be popular at all. And that's pretty much how it played out. You know, uh, the second most played deck was four color control, and like the third most played deck was Team of Rhinos, and both of those matchups were pretty good. And like
Hmm.
luckily for me, I only played against one Rakdos in the Swiss, and I managed to win. And then you know lost to a black green Yawgmoth deck, which is a deck that like I didn't even play against in testing. Like I lost to like
Oh, it was just so off the radar for you. Yeah.
yeah, like I mean I knew it was one of the top decks, but it was like I just had like no reps against this. I played against a player from China who was really good. I think his name was G, if I'm not mistaken, like Zhao G, I think, or I might, I'm not sure. But yeah, he just farmed me with
Hmm.
Yawgmoth, and but no, but then the rest of my matchups were mostly all four color and rhinos, so like I
Good
was
matchups.
yeah,
Yeah.
I was just lucky, honestly, in that regard. So yeah, and then but then the finals, like playing against Jake, I knew I like felt that it would be close, and I actually
Was
felt
there more pressure that you put on yourself because now you're like, I'm this close to being the champion here?
yeah,
And I had just survived like Simon, so it was
yeah,
like, is there
I
some idea like there's some like magic gods on your side or something? I have no idea.
Well, I mean, you know,
Momentum?
it was hard not to think about like uh the fact that like all right, like this is it. Like you're in the finals, like the winner is gonna be a Pro Tour champion, and I'm not gonna lie. I'll be 100% honest. I'm like shuffling my deck, and I just peek over and I just see like the trophy looking back at me, and I'm just like, all right, Cal,
That's mine.
stop looking at the trophy. Just like try and play, and you know, just
Hmm.
just do your best. Just do your best, and that's what I did. And I
Hmm.
didn't come out on top, but it was like honestly, like
Let the chips fall where they
like
may, right?
literally, I swear, the only the only point where I genuinely felt like a sense of disappointment for not winning was when I realized that I lost my chance of getting like the anime like portrait from like the Japanese like Magic Twitter that they do for every winner.
Yeah,
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 like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
one of my absolute
You
like
missed out.
that's like one of my that's one of my favorite things in Magic, honestly, is when they like it's always for like the winner of any top premier event, like Pro Tour champion, World champion. They did it for like the Team World Magic Cup stuff, like, and all those tournaments like that. And I just always thought it was so cool. Like I really love Japan and the culture there and everything. So
Hmm.
I've like wanted one of those like for so long. So I hope that like luckily I get four more tries. Because I
Yeah.
got Worlds coming up next month, and then I have 3 Pro Tours next year, so I have four more
Yeah.
tries to get my anime, portrait
So
with a
forget
trophy.
the invitational card.
Yeah,
You just want your anime
yeah,
likeness.
yeah. No, the invitational card would be pretty cool too, though. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah, it's just crazy that I find myself in this situation now. So I'm just kind of, I'm enjoying it, and I'm like nervous about, all of this, just because it's honestly like on some level, even though like I've like this isn't like like I said, it's my second top eight. I've played, you know, you know, dozens, and I've played many Pro Tours over the last 12 plus years. But yeah, it's like I don't know. It kind of just feels like I don't know. It's weird. If it just kind of feels like another kind of like it's kind of like I'm starting all over again from nothing, And it's just cool to be back in the game, playing against the best.
Yeah, I mean, I love to talk about that a little bit because, I feel like one of the big reasons I wanted to talk to you was just because you've lived the complete Magic Grinder lifestyle, right? So, like for the last, I want to say, decade, and you went through all the ups and downs of, what was Magic going to be during COVID, NPL, post NPL when they said pro play was not going to be a thing anymore,
Hmm.
and then this thing just kind of falling on everybody's laps, like, oh, there's going to be a pro tour again. And I know in the past you've talked about how you've been sort of trying to balance or hedge different passions of yours, right? It's like there's magic, there's poker, there's different things.
Hmm.
You're naturally a competitive person, and I think you had mentioned in the past like it was almost a silver lining that they just said there wasn't going to be any more like pro play because it allowed you maybe to clarify where you needed to go. But then now this year, like this thing comes back, or
Yeah.
last year, this thing comes back. Like, how do you feel about everything? Because it must be like a lot of mixed signals and emotions, I have to guess, right?
Yeah, no, it certainly has been. So, you know, like I guess we can go back to like the MPL, right? So like when the MPL started, it was like effectively like my last year on the Pro Tour because they had like the Mythic Championships, which were they were Pro Tours, like everyone. I mean, they were the same exact structure as a Pro Tour, so they were just basically Pro Tours with a different name. So that was, and I got to play out those tournaments, but it just felt so weird because like that's like the year that like my testing team pretty much like dissolved, and like the things that really excited me about the Pro Tour, like it just kind of felt like like all my friends who were the guys I played alongside with all that time, all of a sudden now they were just like elevated to like this different, like they were just like playing a different game than us effectively. And so like for that, like their incentive was to kind of like consolidate like into like small teams amongst like themselves, like because like they had to like grind for like the MPL splits and all that other, whatever it is that they had to play during that time. And yeah, I just felt kind of like, I don't know, I just kind of like, obviously, like it's not like I was owed anything or whatnot, like, and obviously like not just me, like I just mean like kind of like pretty much everyone who ended up on the outside looking in. It just like kind of felt, it just it was very like I don't know, like deflating to like be on the pro tour all those years and be playing and competing and like doing well enough to like requalify and stuff, and then having like one of my best years ever, which was the year that I qualified for Worlds, and I top 8 at the Pro Tour, and then top 16 right after. That was when I top 8 at Amonkhet, and then top 16 Kyoto, and then I found myself like my best year ever, and at a time when I was like looking to kind of step back more from Magic to like kind of like like deal with like my finances and stuff, kind of get like my life in order. And yeah, I just had like the best year I did, and going to Worlds is really cool. And then but like I didn't want that success to like get in the way of like me kind of like making sure that like I could kind of like better my like at home situation. So even though I had that success, I didn't like I didn't like go, okay, all right, I'm back on top, like I'm gonna just start playing a ton again. Like I didn't do that. Like whereas, before, like for the better part of like, the 2010s, I was playing pretty much every Grand Prix in the world. Like I was going everywhere. I was playing like 20 Grand Prix a year for many years in a row, just like chasing pro points and stuff. And I didn't make money doing that. Like I lost a bunch of money doing that. And but I did it because, I enjoyed it, and I just loved the pro tour. I loved, I wanted to, that's why I was always trying to, I was always trying to make gold, make platinum, which were the how the system worked back then. And yeah, and it's just like to have like since naturally I didn't have as good a year the following year, and then that's the year after that year is when they took basically the same players who were in my situation a year prior, and they put all of those players into the MPL. And then they got a bunch of like like life-changing money, and because like I mean a lot of those players, they made, a lot of them made like over six figures, which is like that's like I'm like
which is a decent
my
wage.
entire
Yeah.
Magic career, like my winnings is like in the low six figures. So yeah, it was like a huge, I mean, I was super happy for everyone that was there, just because a lot of them are my friends, and I'm happy that like finally like the players were getting that opportunity. But I just felt that like it's like I just feel like the implementation of it um was pretty poor, and I feel, and also like it's also what they took away in order to roll it out when they did, because they had just like basically 2 months before the MPL was announced, they announced that like the following year was gonna be like the biggest year ever. They were gonna have six pro tours. They even had like shirts with like all the destinations and everything. Like everyone was super excited. And then 2 months later, they're just like, yeah, we're not doing that. We're doing this instead. And they basically just went from like giving us six pro tours to like, all right, the top 32 players in the world all get like all this, like they become professionals, they sign these contracts, and like they get to play in all these high equity tournaments, and then the rest of us were kind of just like like what's
Yeah.
going on.
it's like there was a because previously Pro Magic was like it's very meritocratic, right? Anyone who wants to grind,
Mm.
you can work your way up,
Mhm.
and you can. It's a very clear system. Like this is how you get to a certain level.
Yeah.
This you do this, you get there,
Yeah.
and then it becomes a box. Like oh, it's more arbitrary now. The X players are in this box, and if you're not in this box, you have nothing.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, that's
effectively,
what it.
it kind of went from
Yeah,
you
and
know
that's exactly what it felt like. So, cause like like I just felt like if like I even told people this, like, hey, just imagine if they didn't get rid of the six pro tours, right? But they announced like at the end of the year, hey y'all, like, you know, this next year is gonna be like, like the year to like, like you want to be playing competitive because at the end of the year we're gonna be awarding these contracts to like a league that's gonna be formed, like, the Magic Pro League, and basically like they could have just spent an entire
people will be
they could have
hyped
spent
for
an
that.
entire year
Yeah.
hyping it up. All the tournaments, like I just feel like the tournaments would have been crazy. Like everyone would have been trying, like, like it's different when like, you go into the like, I went into 2018 like, yeah, I can't play much or whatever, like I gotta, whereas like if I knew that at the end of the year there was an MPL contract waiting for like the top, 30 something players, I know I would have certainly given, much more of an effort to try and, achieve something like that. So, it just felt like, I don't know, it just rubbed me the wrong way that like I felt like I didn't really like, even though like theoretically I did have, a chance to get, one of those slots if I had done better in that year. It's like different when like you're playing for it and not. So I just and I just felt like it wouldn't have been received with like, in such a negative way as it was, if they had done it like, in a way that I like that I how I said, like if they just like did the whole like basically like 2019 would have just been a year of promotion effectively.
Hmm.
And like I just feel like it would have been really cool, like, imagine like the last Pro Tour of the year, like there's a few slots left to be decided for the MPL, and like all those matches, like the coverage, like it'd be crazy. But
Hmm.
it didn't happen that way. And then of course, like shortly after the beginning of 2020, like the pandemic happened, and then that, now like Magic and, obviously the world as well, but Magic as well just changed completely and everything was online. And I remember at first like I was actually really like I liked playing cuz they had like at the very beginning, like I'm talking like maybe like April, so like we're like second month of the
April
pandemic.
2020.
Yeah, like I
Yeah, yeah.
remember they were having like these like online Magic Grand Prix that Channel Fireball would run, and like they would give invites to like the online players tour that they were gonna have, that they were planning for, etc. And I knew back then they were doing it like kind of like they weren't really committing to anything long term, because since they didn't know what was gonna happen, like I guess they wanted to be ready if they could go back to like live like sooner, then they wanted to be ready to like pivot to that or whatever. But yeah, just like I know like those online tournaments didn't last too long, and I just didn't really feel very invested in like the system they had with like the Rivals League and the MPL, just because I also felt that like it was like those leagues were structured in such a way, like, since the whole point was, Magic players being, professionals, like they just created the system so that it would be like really hard for those players to kind of fall out. And it made sense. It made so like that's where they created the Rivals League after, like for the first year of MPL, and that ended up being like the safety net for the MPL players. But then what happened was that they kind of did the same for the Rivals League. They also made the Rivals League really hard to like fall out of, which I just felt left so it just left so few opportunities for like, you know, the challengers, which was everyone else basically. So like basically like
Right.
you have like thousands of people all over the world competing for like 12 slots or something or whatever it was to like get it, and that's just to get into rivals. So it
Hmm.
was like, I don't know, it just like it just didn't really feel, I don't know, it just didn't really feel worth it to me to like invest like so much time and energy into like a system like that. So I just wasn't really playing much Magic at that time. And like I didn't even really know like when the events were happening. I didn't know like who was doing well. Like every now and then I would see like a tweet from like one of my friends like winning something, and I saw a couple of events here and there. Like I remember when Javier won, I think it was a Mythic Championship on Arena with like a Gruul deck, and I was super excited about that. And but yeah, like even some of the players who were on the inside, like in the MPL and stuff, even them, like like even
Even they weren't fully happy with
yeah,
it. Yeah.
they were just kind of like, I don't know, they were like clicking buttons and getting their check at the end of the day, basically. So I don't know,
Hmm.
but yeah, like I wasn't super invested in that, so uh, I decided like just to try to like play some more poker, and that's when like in 2021, uh, like one of my first, like 2021 was when I had like one of my first trips like post pandemic, which was I went to Las Vegas for the summer, played a series out there, and had a good time, and then came back later that fall for like the World Series of Poker, which was the first time they had brought it back. And yeah, it was like you know, I mentioned this before, but especially to to other Magic players about how, especially like at the World Series for me, like for Magic players who don't know, like the World Series of Poker is basically this giant festival of poker tournaments with like varying buy-in levels and stuff, and it happens over the course of 7 weeks. Normally it's in the summer, but in 2021 they had it in the fall for the only time, and that was due to the pandemic. But yeah, like it just basically feels like you're at a Magic Fest or a Grand Prix or whatnot. It's just like it's like you're at one of those tournaments every day. Thousands of players, like all playing poker, all playing like different side events and stuff, and they're all there like doing the same thing. And that was like at the time like there weren't any Magic tournaments like that. Because the pandemic was because of the pandemic, so it was like a way to kind of it was another like thing that attracted me to the World Series, just getting that like same feel for like competing at like these big tournaments again, but this time in a different different venue or different arena, if you will.
Hmm.
Mm.
Yeah, I mean, it just felt like GP's firing for 7 weeks, or maybe
Yeah,
even
man,
PT's firing,
it's
right?
crazy, honestly. Like, because I mean, I remember back then, like all these GPs I went to, and when the weekend's over, like, I'm just like, man, like, when's the next GP? Like, when do I get to go to like to back to Europe or back to Japan or back to the West Coast, whatever. So yeah, I just I definitely missed that. And then 2022, I'd say was more the same. Like just like played poker and like going back to the World Series there. And then now we get to 2023, and that's when like when they announced that like like I think it was at the end of 2022 if I'm not mistaken, where like Huey Jensen was like appointed like the lead of like organized play, and Huey's someone who I have a lot of respect for. He's a world champion, pro tour champion. Like he's been he was part of the era that was before me with like Kai and all those guys. So he's pretty much like been a part of the pro tour pretty much like in its entire existence. So I knew having someone like that like it gave me a sense of optimism for like the tournaments to come. And when I saw that like they brought the Pro Tour back, and I was just like, okay, that's cool. Like they brought back the name and everything. And the first one so happened to be in Philadelphia, and I live in New York City, so I'm not too far from there. So I was just like, okay, like I'm gonna I'm gonna go to I can go to Philly. Like I saw they were having like direct PTQs to the Pro Tour, which was cool since like the RC structure is one that I haven't liked too much, like especially the way it's set up here in the US, just because to my knowledge, like all the regionals are locked to like the cities that they're in effectively, or like at least a general area, which is Atlanta, Dallas, and Southern California. And none of those places are in New York. Like none of those are near New York.
Hmm.
So that was already like I know when like those events started up, I wasn't too excited to play in them. Although I like had played the regional in Atlanta at the end of 2022. That was like my first tournament, like playing Magic again, and that was like yeah, at a big my first big tournament back, where like I managed to grind into the RC, but then I like had a bad like day one showing. But yeah, I was like, all right, let's go to Philly. We can play the PTQ. I'll see like some old friends, some friends I hadn't seen since before the pandemic, like my foreign friends who were flying into the States for the first time again. And yeah, it was amazing. Like I just walk into the hall, um, and I just like I see the players competing. I see like the rail, I see the lights and everything, like the cameras, and I was just like, the feature match area, and it just everything in that moment just all came back to me, like all the feelings I've had, like walking into a Pro Tour hall, like all those years ago, and it was just like, wow, like I need to qualify again. Like that was literally like that's just what I felt like when I walked in, and yeah, like it was cool to be there. Um, I ended up not doing well in the PTQs, but I left thinking to myself like, yeah, I gotta, you know, I gotta try to get back. So that's when I like decided to like shortly after that I booked a trip to Italy to uh to go like have like my first outside of the United States vacation, and that's when I went to that's like kind of like how my road back to the Pro Tour really started, like where I ended up qualifying for the next RC over there, then came back to the States, went to the next Pro Tour in Minneapolis, lost in the PTQs there, but because I decided like I was just gonna try to queue however I could. So I booked a trip to Minneapolis, saw my friends there again, saw Nathan win, which was awesome. Um, and yeah, just fell short. It's all good. Went to Athens, and I feel like Athens was like a big. This was June now of this year, and I thought that was like a big turning point because that's when I was kind of back like in a testing house environment again. So I went to Barcelona, ironically enough, like uh right before Athens. We met up in Barcelona because our team was mostly comprised of players from Spain. So we all met up in Barcelona. We stayed with our friend Javier, who he hosted us. He helped test with us, and yeah, from there, we went to Athens, and yeah, it just it was like I don't know. It was like I felt good about the weekend. Having like played games, tested, been in that like same like environment I was used to again. And yeah, just I ran very good. I was able to make top 16 and get the Barcelona invite, and then that's how we ended up in Barcelona. And yeah, it was just a crazy ride, going from just like all right, let's see if we can, let's see how we feel about like going to a tournament again, and then just being like, all right, let's go, and yeah, here we are.
The fire came back, the grind fully came back, and it sounds like it's even playing something like the World Series is still no comparison to just being at a Magic PT, right? At least for you, that's what it sounds
No,
like.
yeah, absolutely. Because especially like after, after Athens, so after I qualified, and I was like super happy. Like I won 2K for that as well for that top 16. And when I found out, I was like, I didn't even know. That's another thing. Like I didn't even look at the prize pool. Like I knew that like the winner got 10K, but I didn't know anything past that. So like when I saw I got 2K, I was like, oh, that's nice, especially because I was about to go to the World Series, and you know, flying to Europe in the summer is very expensive. So it was like a nice little boost to like the role, and I like pretty much like one day after Athens, just go straight to Vegas. Like sorry, like a day after getting back from Athens, I go straight to Vegas, and I was just there for like 3 weeks, just playing a bunch of tournaments. Did not go well, lost a lot, but I played in the main event again, which was awesome. But yeah, like those 3 weeks of poker, it was good. And I enjoyed it a lot, and it was nice to. I feel like because I was funny. I was actually thinking about this post Barcelona as well, because basically like I didn't get to test that much for Barcelona, since I was in Vegas and playing super long days like every day. It was hard for me to like you know have the mental energy to try and like put in good testing when and I've basically like in poker mode the whole time.
You're all drained from a whole day of poker,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. So, and it's like, it's not just one day either. It's like, since it's like, over the course of 3 weeks, like I played how many, I don't know, like 15 plus tournaments or something. So yeah, I just, when I got back, I was in New York for a week, and I was just, I was testing. That's when I finally got to really like, all right, learn modern, learn the draft format, test online for like a week straight, and then like go to the house in Spain, and uh and then test with the guys in person there. So but yeah, like I've like thought about like the difference like playing like on the big stage in poker and playing on the big stage in Magic, and like honestly like I feel like I haven't had uh, I'm sure like having a deep run in like a major poker tournament is probably similar to like going deep into like a PT, like making a PT top eight or something. Um, and I've had like final tables online for poker, but not so much. Not like I haven't had any big ones live, so I'm still waiting for something like that. But yeah, like nothing really compares to the Pro Tour for me, honestly. Like it's just I don't know, it's just like this unique experience for me where I mean, even though I've played in so many, like I just get excited every time, and like I tell people, I always look forward to that first draft of the day, like opening that first pack, and like just like for me, like that's like when the Pro Tour start. I mean, literally is when the Pro Tour starts, but it's just like I don't know, it's just like a special, like it's just something special that I just love a lot. So yeah, I'm just I'm happy I get to play in more, and I look very much look forward to trying to end up holding the trophy at the end of the weekend. So
Are you still kind of just balancing Magic and poker going forward?
yeah,
Like you'll still play World Series or larger poker events
no,
and
yeah. So I was actually gonna say, sorry, I was gonna mention earlier, like yeah, cause having come back from from Barcelona, like the thought did enter my mind, like oh, like now I got Worlds coming up, and it's the biggest tournament of the year. Um, like, should I just be like testing as much as possible? Like, pretty much like, like all my weekends and all like my free time after work and stuff. Like, just like try and like, test as much as I can and like put in infinite hours. And I thought to myself, like, no, like, like here I am basically like I just came off my best result ever in Magic, and it came off the heels of like me like it came off the heels of like me like playing very little Magic, and not saying that like because I mean I did prepare for the Pro Tour. Like I did I did my testing like the week before I left, and we tested in person. And honestly, like testing in person is where I feel like that was always like, especially like back in the day with like the mint card teams, that was always where I got like the most out of my testing in general, because it's
That
just
was the
it
edge,
was
I
yeah it
think.
was just not it just wasn't the same like testing online and then testing and then with and then like between testing online and testing in paper, I feel like was huge. And also like something Javier told me as well was that like like especially like for like basically like if he has a tournament that's on Arena, most of his testing will be on Arena. If he has a tournament that's Magic Online, most of his testing will be Magic Online. And ideally, if you have a tournament in paper,
It should match,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
because it's like it's different. Like when you test something online, and then like for your first game to be in paper, like at the event itself, like it's just not gonna be the same. Like you're just gonna make mistakes that you probably wouldn't have made otherwise, if you were like if you were practicing in paper. So like that was like huge for me, like like getting to do the drafts that we did at the house. Like I didn't do many. I did like 3 or 4, I think. And obviously did more online, but like getting those like those handful of drafts like in person, like we had it like timed and everything. Because Simon Nielsen has a great like call draft video on YouTube, which was cool. So we used that all the time. Um, but yeah, like it was just I just felt like it's definitely where
Like you don't have to overdo it.
yeah.
You have to do it in a smart way, like a deliberate way, right? Kind of thing.
Yeah, no. So like that's why like this past weekend, like I took a break. I like went and visited some friends out of town, and I played a little poker. And yeah, like I'm like I just want to try to balance that, like basically like definitely like put in the work and like get and prepare for the event and do the best I can, but like also like not have everything be about like, oh, I just you know gotta test as much as possible, or I gotta play every tournament or whatever. Like no, I just I definitely I feel like if I can just like be like in a good mindset where like I'm relaxed and I can just kind of enjoy myself and try my best, like I just feel like that will enable me to play like to the best of my abilities. And I feel like that was why like
Hmm.
I was able to kind of just you know kind of go through the weekend just not really feeling much pressure at all to like do well or anything or win, or I just didn't feel any of it, honestly. And it was huge,
Hmm.
so like even going into the top 8, I felt the same way I did before day one, like like before like round one started or right before the draft started. Like I just felt good. I was just happy, and I was just ready to play basically. So yeah,
Hmm.
just hopefully I can get better at that as as the time goes on, and as the tournaments come up. And if I don't do well, like I know it'll be disappointing, but like at the same time, like it's all good. I'm just I'll just play as many tournaments as I can until until I can, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's great to hear that stuff. I mean, I feel like you figured something out. It's kind of like a different variation of what we said about letting the chips fall where they may. Like just, or I like to sometimes call it as like the paradox of magic, where sometimes if you're trying too hard, you ironically don't get the results that you're looking for, or your expectations change in a way that may be unhealthy, and hence it's
Yeah.
harder to process the effects. But if you don't make your life 100% all about magic, sometimes you actually get better outcomes. Sometimes, I'm not
No,
saying
yeah,
that
yeah,
it's
no,
a
like I
formula.
mean, yeah, it's not like oh yeah, like do this and like
It's not like A
you're gonna
then B, right? Obviously, yeah.
yeah, it's just like I feel like everyone, also like everyone goes at their own pace, and everyone knows kind of like what they can handle, what they can't handle. And they like getting in the right mindset is like something that like it's gonna be different for most people. So that's what's been working for me, and it's that's why, like, even like when people were talking about like another thing, it's like I had a lot of people tell like, oh yeah, you just need to win this many more, or you need to win, like I just like never, like that's just like not in my mind basically. Like I don't really think about that stuff until like it literally like, all right, like I have to think about it here or whatever. Like I just like when it all comes down to just like having to play and like win, then like I just don't really think about like how many wins I need. I just try to like just take it round by round and then reassess after that, and just keep it going. So
Yeah. Hey, that sounds like the healthy way to do it. So, Calc, it was really nice to talk to you today and just kind of get like just learn about the new Calc, really. Like
yeah.
the I feel like you've evolved so much over the last couple of years. You learned more about yourself, most importantly. It's just such a pleasure talking to you. And I just want to say as a closing remark, like I just wish you all the best. And I feel like you've got a healthy mindset heading into the future. So whatever you do, magic, poker, otherwise, I have no doubt that you're gonna be able to handle it well. So
Yeah,
thank you.
no, thanks a lot as well. I appreciate the kind words, and thanks for having me here. And yeah, and just I look forward to the future, and keep trying my best. So yeah, and then maybe it'd be nice to maybe we can you know chat again in the future as well on another Humans of Magic. So yeah, thanks again.
Thank you for listening to Humans of Magic. You've made it to the end. Thanks so much. You're awesome. If you'd like to support the show, there are two ways to do so. The first way is the most powerful. Tell a friend. Tell them to check out Humans of Magic. I'd love it if you could spread the word. The second way is to join the Humans of Magic Patreon at patreon.com/humansofmagic. Patreon is the best way to directly support the show from a financial perspective. For as little as $2 a month, you can support me and join the Discord. It gives me the power to keep cranking out new episodes with your favorite magic people. If you want to go the $5 support route, you'll get a digital copy of the Humans of Magic book. Thank you for listening. I appreciate you, as always, making it all the way to the end, and we'll see you next time.